You think you're just sensitive. You think you overreact. You think you take things too personally. But what if the problem didn't start with you? What if it started in a house where your feelings were inconvenient, where your tears were called drama, where silence was safer than honesty? You remember that look, that sigh, that shift in the room when you said how you felt. No one hit you, no one left bruises, but something inside you learned to disappear. You learned to scan faces before speaking. You learned to soften your tone. You learned to edit yourself in real time. And now, as an adult, you call it maturity. You call it being easygoing. You call it not wanting conflict. But it isn't peace. It's conditioning. Childhood emotional abuse doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. It's the constant dismissal, the jokes that cut too deep, the affection that came with conditions, the love that felt earned, not given. And without realizing it, you built your personality around survival. You became the calm one, the understanding one, the one who never asks for too much. But underneath that calm is something else. A tension you can't explain, a fear of being too much, a reflex to apologize even when you're hurt. You don't remember a single catastrophic moment. You remember 1,000 small ones, moments where you felt unseen, misread, minimized. And that pattern didn't stay in childhood. It grew up with you. That's what we're going to uncover. Not what happened, but what it built inside you, and why you're still living inside that structure today. It starts subtly. A child expresses sadness. An adult rolls their eyes. A child shows anger. An adult calls them ungrateful. A child asks for reassurance. An adult sees you're too sensitive. You weren't taught how to feel. You were taught how to suppress. So you adapted. You studied moods. You memorized emotional weather. You became hyper-aware of shifts in tone. You learned that safety depended on reading the room. And now you still do it! In relationships, you monitor energy before speaking. At work, you downplay your ideas to avoid tension. In arguments, you abandon your point halfway through. Because deep down, your body still believes, if I express myself fully, something bad will happen. So you anticipate rejection before it arrives. You over-explain simple needs. You apologize for boundaries. You feel guilty for resting. You feel selfish for wanting reassurance. And here's the part no one talks about. You don't just fear conflict. You fear disconnection. Because when you were young, love felt unstable. Attention felt unpredictable. Approval felt earned. So now you overperform. You overgive. You overadjust. You attract people who take space easily because you were trained to shrink. You confuse intensity with intimacy. You stay longer than you should because leaving feels like failure. And when someone pulls away, it doesn't just hurt. It confirms an old belief. I wasn't enough. But you were never the problem. The problem was that your emotions were treated as burdens. So you turned yourself into something lighter, more manageable, less demanding. You built relationships on adaptation instead of authenticity and the cost. You don't fully know who you are without adjusting. You don't know what you actually want without scanning someone else first. You call it love. But sometimes it's survival repeating itself. Achisomi point, you have to stop blaming your childhood. Not because it didn't shape you, but because you're the one reinforcing it now. Every time you silence yourself to keep peace. Every time you tolerate subtle disrespect. Every time you say it's fine when it isn't. You are choosing the familiar, and the familiar feels safer than the unknown, even if it hurts. There are two paths from here. One is quiet, comfortable, predictable. You keep adapting, keep shrinking, keep attracting people who don't fully see you, and you call it fate. The other path is disruptive. You speak before scanning. You say no without softening it. You allow someone to be uncomfortable with your honesty, and you survive it. That's the moment everything changes, not when others change. When you do, breaking this pattern doesn't require a dramatic confrontation. It requires one sentence, one internal shift, one decision. If this resonates with you, write this in the comments. I am allowed to take up emotional space. Write it exactly like that. Not for the algorithm, for you, because the moment you declare it publicly, even in a small way, you interrupt the old conditioning. And if you're ready to keep uncovering what shaped you and how to rebuild from awareness instead of fear, subscribe. Not as a passive viewer, but as someone choosing to see clearly. Here's something you can do today. The next time you feel the urge to apologize automatically, pause. Ask yourself one question. Did I actually do something wrong? If the answer is no, don't apologize. Let the silence sit. Let the discomfort exist. Your nervous system may panic. That's okay. That's the old training reacting. Stay, breathe, and notice that nothing catastrophic happens. This is how you reclaim yourself. Not in grand gestures, in small refusals to disappear. You were not too much. You were never too sensitive. You were simply never taught that your feelings deserved space. Now, you are.